I don't know what's going on, but okay. I'll just chalk it up to space and loneliness and move on. Okay. Hiya, and welcome back to another Reading Wednesday. It's your girl, Sketchbooks and Bookbooks, also known as Logan. And today, I'm in a bummy mood. I'm in a bummy mood. And I tried to dress better to dress like you feel better and then your body will fall in line. But honestly, I'm just I feel like I'm congested. I got the Pfizer booster today. But it hasn't hit me like the first one did. When I first got Pfizer, that laid me out completely. And I had to I got aches and I was just sleeping through that mess. It's not like that this time, but yeah. So I'm just I'm not in the mood. Everything feels like my mood today is this ain't it. This ain't it. And it don't matter. Even if I imagine a world where it's maybe I have a mansion and a handsome man is married to me, have all the money in the world, still the mood would be this ain't it. This ain't it. So basically, long story short, it is a good day to hate on something since I'm already in a hating kind of mood. And so today I will be reviewing finally one of I think the worst book I read in 2021. And that book is Do You Dream of Terra-Two by Temi Oh. So we're just gonna hop right in because this book, I actually don't know how long it was. It was long. It was long though. And I don't know why was I so determined to read it. I just thought it has a good premise, honestly. But I just want to look up the page count real quick because I just want to know how long I suffered. Hardcover was supposedly 520 pages. Ridiculous. Anyway, so I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis of this. So it's basically an Earth-like planet is discovered and a team of 6 teens along with 3 veteran astronauts embark on a 20-year trip to set up a planet for human colonization, but find out space is more deadly than they ever could have imagined. That's the synopsis. So you got 6 teens and 3 veteran astronauts on their way to this planet that looks just like Earth, called Terra-Two, and it's going to take them 20 years. And that's really the whole reason they have teens there, because the teens are of course going to age over those time, but they'll be in their whatever, in their 30s or something, I guess, when they land, and they'll be able to keep up their duties, and all the veterans, I guess, are going to die on the way, I don't know. But yeah, so that was the premise. I haven't done a book review, I feel, in a long time. That was just one book that I was talking about, but yeah, just pros and cons as we do. First pro is the science jargon is sciencey, science fiction, and honestly, it's so sciencey that you're unless you took astrophysics or something, I feel you're not, what the heck does that mean? What does that mean? You're just confused. That's how sciencey it was, where it's the science talk. I do feel it's legit because I do not understand it. Yeah, so yeah. Because all I took in school was chemistry, biology, and this ain't it. Y'all talking about astrophysics, y'all talking about mechanics and stuff. And I was just so lost, but it sounds legit, and I guess I appreciate that. So it's a pro. Science jargon was sciencey. Next pro is it was a diverse cast of characters, kind of. I'm gonna go. So I'm she said 6 teens, right? 6 teens on this trip. We got Jesse, who I'm not sure. This may be in my head. I don't know if he was a white man. I didn't think he was white because she said he had olive tone skin. I'm thinking he might have been native, a Native American something. But I don't think he was white, but I also cannot remember. Which you're thinking how is it diverse and you're not even sure what race he was, but I don't know. I just feel he was a person of color. So we got Jesse, Harry is a white man, Poppy is also white, Juno is one of a pair of black twins, all identical black twins, and then we have Astrid, it's the second half, and then we have Elliot, who is I think, I'm not sure what Elliot is actually. And like reading it, I thought he also wasn't white. I do remember thinking that, but I'm not sure what he is now. And then we have Ara. Okay, yeah, so that's 6. And then we have Ara, who has no points of POV to her name. I'm gonna spoil this book for you. First of all, full out, because I don't think you're missing anything, honestly. Ara she was the Indian girl who was originally supposed to go on the team, but then she commits suicide, trigger warning, suicide, early on, and that's it. And then that's how we actually get Jesse, because Jesse was not part of he was like a, what is that called? He's like not a floater or something, but he was like almost on the team, but then he wasn't good enough, and so he was supposed to come in if anything happened to the other people. Kind of like an understudy, but I can't remember the name she used. But anyway, that's how we got him, was because Ara jumped into a river. Like, days before they were supposed to leave. It's very dramatic, very sudden, no one really knew why. And I don't, like, still, after reading it all, you don't really know why. You don't, I don't, you know. But anyway, so diverse cast of characters, I guess, because there's like also like a black man who's one of the veteran astronauts, so there's that. Okay, not as much representation as I would have liked, really, now that I'm looking at this and looking at what I was given, but it was there, I suppose, the effort, you know. And last pro I have, it was a nice premise. I think it is a nice premise, like this idea of like, it's interesting, it's intriguing. What fell apart completely is the execution of it. I hated it, hated the book. But the premise is nice, of these like 6 teens and 3 veteran astronauts trying to colonize this planet that appears. But like, this brings me to my first con. You never see Terra-Two. They never go to Terra-Two. No one, we don't see that. We never see that, ever. We literally never step foot on the planet. Like, she doesn't take you through, it's about the journey, not the destination, and nothing has ever been more true to that than this book, because we literally only get a snippet of the journey, and that's it. So that was, I mean, it's reality TV on a spaceship, basically. That's what it is. It's just drama and a little spaceship in space. You just change the location of a drama, like of a reality TV show. That's it. It was just them talking and dealing with stuff and each other and mental health and things and trying to stay sane, I guess, on this spaceship. And it gets like, the drama between these teenagers, it gets so annoying so fast. I was so done. I was so uninterested too. And I think I remember too that like the dialogue just wasn't believable for me. The dialogue wasn't believable for any like teenagers, and then also I found like mostly everyone insufferable as well. I was just like, are smart people this stupid? Are they this annoying? Like, maybe they are, but like we don't have to be true to form like that, because everyone was so irritating. I was just like, I get shivers just thinking about this reading experience. It was awful. But anyway, yeah, so you never get to the planet ever. And so also like all these drama, and you have multiple POVs for this. You have multiple POVs of these 6 characters. And it's an unequal amount of POVs too. That's what makes me really upset, honestly, because if it's supposed to be like an ensemble, you know, kind of thing, an ensemble story, no one is supposed to stick out, then have an equal amount of POVs, so I know everyone equally, you know? But that's not what happens. It was so random, the amount of like us just switching back and forth between like jumping from different people, that I actually started keeping count, because I was just like, what is going on? What is going on? We don't have a chosen main character, and it just bothered me, because I'm gonna give you the count of these people. So Jesse, the dude who comes and replaces Ara after she's, you know, she commits suicide, he has 13 POVs. And then Harry, the dude, he's a white guy who's like supposed to be the captain of the ship, but he also tries to paint him as like a sociopath or something, and he's just like a golden boy or whatever. He has 4 POVs. 4 versus 13. 4. And then after that we have Poppy, who is a polyglot, and she's head of communications and like basically videoing Earth and stuff and keeping them updated. She has like knows all these languages, whatever. She's a redhead, and she's also doing this thing with Harry that was super unnecessary and like pointless, really pointless. Yeah, she had 10. Poppy had 10 POVs. Juno, one of the black twins that I think Juno was the one who was like, they were, how do I differentiate between the twins? Because she's basically, I think Juno is the one who ends up with Jesse, okay? They like start a romance that is a con all on its own. But yeah. And she like stays on the ship and everything, and it's pretty logical thinking or whatever. But anyway, Juno, she has a whopping 19 POVs, 19 chapters dedicated to her, and you know that makes her kind of like more important than anyone else, right? But you would think like if that was the case, like if you wanted to have a main character within this cast, you know, you think that we would start off with her perspective, but we don't. We start off with Jesse's. I'm pretty sure Jesse's like the first perspective we get. So it was just like all these POVs, it just felt so unintentional. It felt like it wasn't helping her, Temi Oh, tell the story at all. It was just confusing and ridiculous and sloppy too to me, because I'm like, none of these are equal. Like, what did we do this for? What did we do this? Did we just hop POVs when we got bored? Like, come on. I was just, But Juno has 19, and then her twin Astrid has 12, Elliot has 7, and then Ara, the girl who like we lose early on and don't really know about, or meet all that well, she gets 0. Okay? So it was just all over the place. Poppy, Juno, and Astrid had the most with like, well no, Jesse was 13, 19, 12, 10, 7, and 4. What was the pattern? What is the logic in that? I'm baffled. Honestly. Baffled. Just speechless. I just don't understand it. I don't. Dang. Anyway. But yeah, so it was just all over the place and it was so annoying. And then the pacing is pretty much it was slow, super slow at some points, because I'm pretty sure it was just a bunch of talking, and then it would just, the highlights of the trip were pretty much when things were going wrong. That was the only thing that was the only interesting part, is when something was going wrong on the trip. Okay, that was it. And other than that, it was just so boring and slow, because they're in this spaceship for 20 years going to a planet that we never see. So yeah, it was boring. Anyway, yeah, pacing is terrible. This is a big one for me that was like, this made this even more insufferable, and why I was like, this is like the worst book I read last year. Poor handling and discussion of mental illness to me. Okay, so first of all, there's 2 characters who suffer from depression, okay? First being Ara, who took her own life. In her case, we'll talk about her first. She is, first of all, how she even, I'm gonna explain the scene, because it's like they have free time before there's this tree planting ceremony that the astronauts do before, you know, heading off the next day, and they have free time before that happens, I think. And so they all like run away from the planetarium or whatever, and you know, go and sneak off into different things. And Ara like she was in a relationship with Elliot too, by the way. And Ara is running away, you know, to like just into the city or whatever. This is like they're in UK. This, by the way, this is like London or whatever. I don't care. It's over there though. And she's running away, and then she just, I don't think they see her get into the lake. They just see her boots placed on like the bridge, or the whatever, and then she's floating in the water, and people are like, oh my god, you know, and then Elliot's running after her, and he comes to this commotion. He's like, what's going on, you know, and she's in the river and she's dead. Okay, so yeah, that being said, then it's basically just Elliot's whole story after that is trying to move on and recover and like mourning her, I guess. He even has hallucinations about her sometimes. But the flashbacks of her is what really bothered me, because like the depiction of her depression was very cinematic. It was very like Hollywood-esque to me. And what I mean by that is it's as if they tried to make depression pretty, and it bothers me a lot. Because depression isn't pretty, but it's also not that, like, it's kind of boring in a way. Depression is. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, you know, yeah, you're sad, but you're not just like dying all the time. You want to die, sure, but you're not dying all the time. And there's a scene specifically I remember Elliot had like a memory of Ara, and she was portrayed as free and wild and like, you know, spontaneous or whatever. And she's like running in the rain after they've gone dancing all night or something, and then she like looks up and she starts just like crying, and she says everything hurts, and I was just, everything hurts. Everything hurts. That's what you think. That's how you... I'm just like, what do you mean? I have never said that. In all, as someone who has depression and who has broken down and cried several times for like really no reason at all, never have I said that to myself. Everything hurts. But maybe I just don't know, because just what does that mean? Everything hurts. Everything hurts. I've said, you know, I don't want to be here anymore. I've said I'm so tired, you know, and meant it, but like, everything hurts. That's what you're gonna say? Okay. And then the other character that goes through depression is Poppy. Like, she kind of just doesn't shower or just do anything, and she barely eats, and just lays in bed all day and doesn't do her like duties on this is once they're on the ship. And honestly, I felt like there was no explanation for this, or really like nothing from Poppy's point of view. The only person who gets mad at her, I think, is Juno, who's like, you know, do your job. She's basically, because when it came time for her chores, she just wouldn't do them, and everyone was being like real like nice to her about it. But also, you know, no one was talking about it. No one was talking about like, why is she despondent like this? Why is she laying in bed all day? They're thinking like, oh, she just doesn't feel well. She's just not feeling well. And so that's another thing that bothered me, is like, if these two characters talk and have depression so much, like the word itself is not said at all. It just felt, I was just like, what are we doing here? I really didn't even know that Poppy was depressed. I legit thought she was just sick or something, or just being lazy. I really had no idea if she was depressed. And looking back, I'm like, I think that was supposed to be a depiction of depression, her laying in bed all day and not doing anything. But I'm just like, why didn't we just say the word? Why did we treat it like that? Why did we treat like the word depression as if it's a swear? Like, it's not hard, just say it. That's what it is. But either way, the handling of mental illness in this book rubbed me the wrong way, because the impression I got was that the author has never dealt with depression herself, or doesn't really know mental illness, and only threw it in there to make things a little more interesting or something. It was a very just stay away from it if you don't know how to talk about it. Or if your heart's not in it, then don't talk about mental illness. Don't do it then. That's how I feel. Don't do it. Because like, just shut up. It'd be better off if you just say nothing. Just don't say anything if you don't know anything about it. Okay? It was annoying to me. I was super, that really made me mad. It really made me mad, actually. But anyway, another con I have is like, like I said, it's 520 pages, and you never get to the planet. So it's just unnecessarily long, considering we literally go nowhere. Unnecessarily long. And we literally go nowhere. Nowhere. We are in space. We are in space, that's it. That's where they go. They go from the UK, you go UFK, to a ship in space, and that's it. That's where we see them, that's it. why was it so long? And it's just one of those books where I'm just like, Temi Oh, how did you have the desire to keep writing this? How did you believe in this enough? How did this even get published, honestly? That's how bad it made me. I was like, anyone can get something published. If you have a book, write it. If you have a story idea, write it. Because someone is going to publish it, no matter what. And somewhere, somehow, it will get 5 stars. There are people who gave the same book I'm talking about right now 5 stars. And I will never understand them. I will never get it. But it happens. Okay? So just chase your dreams. Chase your dreams. Do what you want to do. Because this exists. This happened. Her dream came true, I'm sure. I don't know if she... whatever. But yeah, so it's so long. Okay? And then I'm gonna get to that romance I mentioned earlier between yknow and Jesse. Okay? First of all, it was pretty like... I don't know. It was okay in the beginning, and it was actually a highlight of the book for me until some foolishness happened that I had to write down because it just didn't make sense. So on page 359, Jesse tells yknow he loves her, and they kiss. First of all, him telling her I love you was way out of nowhere. It was like, homie, what? What do you mean? Like, we just met. Why would you tell me that? It was super weird. And then how yknow reacted, was like, I don't think she said it back, but they did kiss. So I was like, I don't know what's going on, but okay. I'll just chalk it up to space and loneliness and move on. Okay. Yeah, so they kiss, and then nothing about their relationship is mentioned until 430. Page 430. Okay? So, it's like mentioned briefly on like 3 separate pages, but legit, like that, it's the way that I was almost gaslit into thinking that scene didn't happen for 50 pages. I was like, nah, they legit confess their love for each other and kiss, and then Temi Oh legit just didn't talk about that for like 50 pages. 50. And I am still mind blown to this because this was edited. This is not the first draft of this story. This was edited and turned in, and an editor looked at it and they signed off on that. And I'm like, why? How did that slip through the cracks? Or really was it just, am I the only one who was annoyed by that? I just find that very hard to believe too. That if I was the only one annoyed that they literally kissed and said I love you, but then I go like 25, 30 plus pages of no mention of this huge development. We're just gonna act like that wasn't big. That killed me. I was legit dying. I was like, what do you mean? Like I said, I thought I had lost my mind. I was like, what do you mean? I literally read that. I read that. But they like just completely forgot about each other. It's like they forgot that they kissed. How do you forget you? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, but that was stupid. And then my last con is, I'm gonna spoil it for you again because genuinely I don't want you to read this book. I really don't. I really don't. Save yourself. Don't read it. Anyway, Harry's final decision is accepted without any explanation. And the final decision was, there's like, spoiler alert, 2 people they end up heading back to Earth, okay? Because of a whole situation with like, they almost starve first of all, and die in space because of reasons I cannot remember. Something exploded, some explosion, something. And then they have to be rescued by this other team, other people from space, like, but I think they're from China or something, and they launched years earlier, and there's like hundreds of them in this ship, and basically they'll just like, they've been in space this whole time for like years already. It was weird, but pretty much that's how, I don't know why those people left, but Harry and Astrid end up leaving and going back to Earth, like in little shuttles or pods, whatever, I don't care. But that's the gist. Harry was supposed to be the captain, okay, of the ship. And his decision, I think he gets scared in the moment when it comes down to it, Jesse is like the one who saves them or something, and then ever since then, he saves them from like crashing into debris from like the explosion or whatever. And ever since then, like, Harry was like doubting himself, and he was like, I shouldn't be the captain, so he went back. And like I said, Harry only gets 4 point of views or chapters dedicated to him, and you don't get one after this decision is made. You don't get another. I was so like expecting that, because that's such a huge decision for him to make. So I was thinking, yeah, she's gonna explain this. No, it's not. It's not explained. It's just, you know, yeah, that's what he did. You don't really know why. He just went back to Earth, yeah. And this man who was so cocky and so sure of himself, and was like just wanted this fame and wanted it for everything. Wanted everything about this mission. He went back to Earth, and you didn't give him a point of view to like close that loose end or nothing. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me. It's dumb. I don't understand. It's just, yeah. And then Astrid also, she's like the other twin, right? She's the one who, she had dreams about Terra-Two. She really wanted to go, and she ends up making decisions that like jeopardize everybody, but she's like, I really want to go to the planet. And her sister almost ends up dying, like kind of starving to death, I think. I literally can't remember. I literally can't, and I don't want to, because this book was awful. But yeah, she almost ends up dying, and then she ends up like praying that like, oh, if she lives, oh, I'll go back to Earth and I'll never see Terra-Two. And then she lives, so she does that. She commits to it and goes back to Earth, and I was just like, that seems stupid, but okay. Okay. That seems dumb. But this is your story that I read, so I'll just accept that. Cool. Yeah, this is so, that was so dumb. I did give it 1 star, of course, and now just read the review, because, man, did I hate this though. I hated this. Oh, did I hate it. Anyway, so this is the worst book I've read so far in the year of 2021, and I shudder at the thought of anything else upstaging it. Luckily, nothing ever did. I think this is the worst. This is so disappointing, because I love the premise and the ideas Temi had for this book, but I think the execution was just abhorrent. Several reviews claim this book is a character study, but all of her characters never reach past the threshold of caricatures, and her depiction of depression I found disgustingly one-dimensional and surface level. There's 3 characters who suffer from it, and yet she mostly describes it as sadness, has one crying in the rain, saying everything hurts, and never touches on the complexity of the mental illness. The portrayal of depression in this book really angers and offends me, because it seems like she watered it down for no reason and spoke on something she knows nothing about. Also, if this was a character study, it should go without saying that each character should have an equal amount of chapters dedicated to their POV. Temi's bouncing around seems so random, I decided to keep track. Out of the 6 characters, Juno has 19 chapters, Jesse has 13, Astrid has 12, Poppy has 10, Elliot has 7, and Harry has 4. How does that make any sense? And it makes me so mad, because if Temi identified with Juno the most, why not make her the main character of the cast? We first hear from Jesse, so we're really made to believe it's an ensemble, when in actuality, not all of the characters are equal, and Harry definitely deserved another chapter near the end regarding his decision. Temi's characterization was all over the place, and the pacing was awful. 2 characters confess their love for each other, and then she doesn't mention their relationship for 71 pages? 4 question marks. There's too much wrong with this overly long and drawn-out soap opera for me to properly dictate, but the rant review is coming, because this book has incited violence in my very soul. Honestly, I'm so numb from this experience. And I'm also a bit congested that I feel like this review wasn't even as animated as it could be. But no, this was dumb. I'm so mad. And here's a read. I just looking at Temi Oh's like little biography on Goodreads. She does have like a bachelor's in neuroscience, so that's why the science jargon is so sciencey. That's why. Yeah, this was so bad though. So bad. Like I said though, I see other people who gave this, you know, high star, and I'm friends with friends who like gave this book high ratings. So crazy to me. I hated it though. Anyway, thank you for watching. come back next time. I have no idea what I'm gonna do next time, honestly, but who cares? There'll be something. Yeah, this has been Sketchbooks and Book Books, my review of Do You Dream of Terra-Two? And, you know, go read a book. Have some thoughtsy-watsies. And, yeah. Bye.